there, guys and gals, it's me, Jeffrey, again. Today we're going to do another creepypasta that's My Little Pony related. It's called LostPony.txt. Now, I've wanted to do this one for a long time, but I never had the chance to, so I'm going to read it word for word. So, let's get to it. LostPony.txt. As you may know, I bought a new computer last December due to my old one overheating and the hard drive exploding. I have a new one now, and I feel like I'm ready to tell you the real reason it crashed. November 30th, 2011. I really like the show My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. It calms me down, and the plot is simple and requires no cognitive work to fully understand. However, I was beginning to get bored with the Season 1 episodes, so I decided to surf the web and look for some more Season 2 related ones. Took a good while amount of searching, while 2 or 3 pages of Google at most, but eventually found an episode called Season 2 Pilot, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Legend of Lost Pony. Just then a flashback occurred. Does anyone remember when My Little Pony storybook, the one where Minty, Pinkie Pie, Wisteria, and Rainbow Dash were all having a sleepover and telling ghost stories? I remember buying that book when I was 7, when I was into the original My Little Pony figurines. The story used to scare me as a kid. I would often hide under the covers in fear that the ghost pony would come for me. Interested in seeing my childhood be reincarnated by the show Lauren Faust, I clicked on the link leading to this website. I analyzed the page. There was no URL, irritating as I could not link my friends to the episode, so I continued examining the webpage. It looked like an amateurly coded website that 8th graders would make in technology classes. The movie player did not have a timeline, no pause button, just a play arrow in the center of the video. And I was still debating the authenticity of this episode, so I just scrolled down to the description. Description was just ellipses, dot. I rolled my eyes thinking that this was some stupid prank made by a YouTube troll, but I decided to be brave. I wanted to prove myself that I wasn't going to be scared shitless just for some guy's amusement, so I hit the play button. To my surprise, the normal My Little Pony opening sequence played out as usual. I began to sing along to the theme song, being so happy it wasn't a prank, but as the music theme ended, the logo at the opening just stayed there for a while. I thought the video was lagging, so I hovered my mouse over to the window. There was no buffering symbol, so I assumed the video was over until very loud static screamed out through the headphones. My heart skipped a beat due to the contrast of complete silence when the logo was frozen. The screen was black until 3 words in white chiller text faded into the vision. Lost Pony is coming. The text jumped and flickered as if this movie was somewhat old. I began to shiver and was contemplating whether or not to close the window, but the static then shifted into scenery into something that was a little more pleasant. The 3 Cutie Mark Crusaders, Sweet Belle, Apple Bloom, and Skulu, were all going to Twilight's house with their sleeping bags, so I assumed that they were staying the night. Skulu knocked on the door, and before Twilight could even say hello, the 3 fillies ran into the house. As Twilight closed the door, the video then panned upwards to reveal the top of the treehouse, where Owlicious landed on a thick branch. The frame then froze for a few seconds, zooming onto the face of the owl. I almost could have sworn I could have heard the sound of a music box and young laughter sounding faintly in the background. I noticed the sound getting drastically louder until a horrific image flashed onto the screen. It was completely zoomed into Owlicious's face in blurry black and white. The sound of a young child screaming in fear as it sounded its way through the speakers, as well as a loud banging on the piano. His eyes were dark black holes, and he didn't even have a beak. No, just frightening, realistic human mouth grinning with teeth spread around the owl's face. And the frame continued to jump and shift as the screaming, banging, and laughing continued to play out, almost scaring myself completely to death. The video went back to the 4 ponies. The Cutie Mark Crusaders were all snuggled in their sleeping bags, eyes eager and fixed on Twilight as she lifted the book with her magical horn and placed it on her desk. Now, you three, Twilight spoke in her kind, assuring voice. This story is called The Princess Canterlot. Once, she's interrupted by Skulu. Boring, she whined. Come on, Twilight, let's hear something scary. Apple Bloom and Sweetbell nod their heads in agreement. Twilight blushed, embarrassed. Okay, how about the story of the Sunshine Village? Skulu shook her head. Twilight sighed. The Happy Prince? Twilight, Skulu complained. Something scary. Defeated Twilight gave in to Skulu's request. All right, she groaned. Spike, fetch me the Legend of Lost Pony. The video panned over to Spike, who appeared to be frightened at the request. No, Spike began to shout. No, Spike screamed and he ran off. My senses told me that this was going to get worse before it got any better. As I sat shaking in my chair, I hesitantly watched as the three fillies snuggled together in excitement as Twilight began to tell them the story. Once upon a time, many, many years ago, there was a Pegasus known as Red Helper. Twilight's voice trailed off as the screen began to wobble in flashback. The screen then cut to black for a little while. I thought the video was over, so I was about to close the window, but a blood-curdling groan made me jump out of my seat, forcing me to watch. More static played out until there was a clip of a white Pegasus with a spiky blonde mane and tail and a red cross for a cutie mark. His eyes were dull and emotionless. He did nothing, just stared at the road. He blinked once and then began to walk. I noticed the quality of the video rapidly decrease as he walked. There was a music box faintly in the background, followed by some unfathomably murmuring. The static then sounded, causing me to jump again. The scenery then shifted to the center of the town, where several ponies looked at him in disgust. The ponies sounded much as they were speaking backwards. Then the shot pans up to Princess Celestia. She was flowing with rage. Red Helper barely looked up at her, what seemed to enrage her more. What have you done? She shrieked. Do you have any idea how serious this is? Red lifted his head slightly and spoke. Notice how I said spoke, because all that was coming out was loud static sound. The ponies looked terrified. Get out, Celestia snarled. Get out, get out, get out. She stomped her hoof on the ground, causing it to shake. Red's eyes widened. Celestia continued to scream at him until he bolted off into the woods. As he walked, however, every step made the screen darken. The sound of the banging piano could be heard again. Red opened his mouth, and the words came out, making my blood run cold. I didn't mean to kill her. My love, he said in an eerie, childlike voice. Her skin was so perfect, I had to make it for my own. She wouldn't stop screaming. I didn't want her to scream, so the pitch of his voice changed to a demonic snarl. Chop out her eyes. The static then filled up the player once again. I then heard a whisper. Do you want to end up like her? A frightening image of Red suddenly appeared on the screen. His colors were dark and dirty. He no longer had eyes or wings. They were replaced by bloody bandages. His back right leg was gone. The remaining legs were severed with cuts. His smile was replaced by a realistic human mouth, as if screaming. The screaming then sounded as if it played again with a creepy music box, and laughing as well. And I was now cowering in my chair, crying in fear. The screen then cuts to black, and the nightmare was finally over. Or so I thought. The player then disappeared, and the web page was gone, completely black. So I looked around in the back, so I saw smallest white text in the far right corner, and it read, "Bye now." I heard yet another scream in my computer blue screen, like a blue screen of death. I ran into my bedroom and hid myself under the sheets, sobbing hysterically. I didn't dare touch that PC for the rest of the night. December 1, 2011. After that awful terror I witnessed yesterday, I decided to check the PC again, this time in broad daylight. I started up my PC and everything looked normal. I opened up the folder of my pictures, and when I noticed all the hard drive was wiped clean. There was nothing. No folders, no pictures, no videos, nothing. Just nothing but two files. A image titled LostPony.txt and a movie titled ByNow.mov. I clicked on the video. It was 4 minutes and 9 seconds long. It was an image of Red, lying in the red room with a wicked smile upon his face. The movie quality was awful and consists of, you guessed it, static. I watched the entire thing until the end in suspense. To my relief, nothing happened, so I clicked on the X and closed the player and tried to see the image. It had disappeared, so had the movie. My entire drive was completely erased. I had no programs, not even Windows Movie Maker. My login was tiled ... ellipses, and then there was only a shutdown option. Knowing that it would be pointless to continue searching for any files, I clicked shutdown. To my surprise, my laptop turned off immediately. After a few hours of waiting, I tried turning it on, and alas, it didn't work. I have a new computer now, but I never will forget what happened on that horrible night. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was LostPony.txt. Now, cliches aside, there wasn't really much of the blood cliche mentioned, because they did not mention the blood cliche in this one, except for the supposed death of that random pony that, Lost Pony supposedly took out, or should I call him a Red Helper, whatever the case. Like, whatever Red did definitely made Princess Celestia, furious. And the other thing is, who was this pony that Red Helper supposedly killed? It doesn't really give a clear explanation on to which female pony was killed by Red Helper, aka the LostPony.txt. But further cliches aside, the only other one is, how does it fry your PC to the point where the PC is worthless, in control or contrast or, anything? And it's and that's what leads to this is what leads to the final question in this whole scenario. If this video was real, wouldn't be surfaced onto the television? Because if it was, then the show My Little Pony would have been completely over without the possibility of a comeback. I mean, yeah, I know there's the reconstruction of the Lost My Little Pony episode called Execute that involved my OC, but that was a reconstruction because it only aired on TV once and was never aired again, let alone surface on the internet or anything. And plus, that was at nighttime and not daytime. So, any of those that did see it were fortunate enough to have the privilege of staying awake longer than usual. But anyways, I digress. I hope you enjoyed this, me reading LostPony.txt. What will you change to make it better? This is Jeffrey Sambursky, signing out.